Welcome everybody. So today we'll be going through basic tools for Photoshop, which you will require for basic image editing. So first we'll go through with the brush tool. So now I think so it's you know what a brush tool does, right? It's a paintbrush. So like you can see in this image, it has text over it. So we're gonna use the brush tool to first remove this text. Okay, so now how to select the color? To select the color, you can either go to this option and select the color manually, but it's like hard to pinpoint the color exactly. Now you can also use the eyedropper here. When you move out to the screen, you see it turns into an eyedropper. You can click and it will pick up the exact color. Or you can just press the Alt key when you have the brush tool selected and it will automatically become an eyedropper. You can just click and it will pick up the color. Like here, click and it will show you the preview, what color you're picking, and you just pick the color. Then we'll be using to paint over. So now this is the basic brush tool. Now you will notice that there's a gradient in the sky. The sky is not solid blue, so it's looking bad. Okay. So now to remove this, either we can reduce the transparency of the brush. To do that, if you go up in the menu bar or the options bar, you'll see the opacity. So now you can decrease the opacity, which is basically the transparency, and you can decrease obviously the transparency of the brush. You can change the color and try again. So now this is very time consuming. Picking different colors, mixing them, this will be very time consuming. So you can use brush tool when you are dealing with solid colors, but if there's a gradient, then it's very difficult. So the next tool which we'll be looking into will be the healing brush tool. So now healing brush tool has a spot healing brush tool and a healing brush tool. So for healing brush tool, what we do, we set a source. So we press Alt and it sets the source. You see that icon? That's setting the source. And now wherever we go, we will be copying that area. Like you can see the plus icon where we set the source. Now we are basically copying that area. So like if we go there, you can see I'm copying that area. That's the healing brush tool. Now this can be very useful when you have copy a part of an image. But here, I don't think so. It will be that useful. So Control Z to undo any changes. Now the spot healing brush tool. Spot healing brush tool is AI assisted. It will automatically fix any imperfections in your image. So like you just drag over it and it will automatically fix imperfections. Now it's not a magic tool. Okay, it will not magically fix everything. You'll have to do some work. So like you can see here, it's still leaving something behind. It's not just like it's just magically fixing everything. Now that's where the user has to come in, because obviously if Photoshop could do everything, what's what your thing to do? So we'll take the brush tool, pick up the blue color with opacity like less than 40%. We'll brush over it. Now this will help the spot healing brush tool to remove these imperfections actually. So now you go, it will be easier for the spot healing brush tool to remove these imperfections. And after this, you see there's still some imperfections left very clearly. To deal with this, what we can do, we again take the brush tool and decrease the opacity even more, like 10-20%. Now what you can do is pick up the color again and brush over it. Now it will give the transparency so low that it will give an effect that the colors are blending together. So we can use that to our advantage. So like now the upper part looks like it's seamless, but the lower part there's still some uh, choppiness there. So still we'll take the spot healing brush tool and go over it once again. Now see, it's better. For final touches, again brush tool. This time we'll take the lighter blue, opacity still less than 20%, and we'll go over it, creating a merging colors effect. For final touches, again a little bit of spot healing and done. So you can see now there are still, you can very clearly see the imperfections here. So that will take time. Like as you practice, you go ahead and you will learn how to manipulate the colors and the spot healing brush tool to your advantage, and you'll be able to remove that impurity or you'll be able to clarify the image much more. So we'll take another example. So this picture, we'll be removing all those white patches. This is a very old picture, so we're basically making it look like it's a new picture. So we're removing all those patches and like clearing it. So we zoom in. Then first of all, let's see. Now there are no solid colors here, so I don't think so we have to use the brush tool. We'll be using the spot healing brush tool or the brush tool. So let's start with spot healing brush tool. It can very easily like, just eliminate these patches. Very easily, you can just eliminate these patches and just click over it and it's gone. Now the difficulty comes is when you see here in his hair. Now if you click just there, it can create like a blur effect, right? So we don't want that. So first thing we can do is zoom in, decrease the size of the brush and go a little minute. We can do that. That's one way to do it. Or we can take a sample from like using this healing brush tool. We can sample his hair from somewhere and paste it here. We can do that. But it's an old image, so it will be a bit difficult to do that. So now like this part again. This part also, spot healing brush tool. We can either zoom in and clear it, because if we like zoomed out, it will create that blurry effect. It will not look good. Now this is an old image, so it's becoming very pixelated as we zoom in. And that can be a good thing or a bad thing depending on your image. So if it's an old image, it's blurry, pixelated, it's use that to your advantage, because then the viewer cannot tell what the original image was. It blurry or not? But if it's a modern clear image, then you can run into issues. There you have to give it more time. So now if you keep going it like this, the image will eventually become like this, like I've cleaned this beforehand. So this becomes this. Now this took like 15 minutes to do. So I think so anybody of you can try. So now Photoshop, we have uploaded in the drive. You can check it, try it. In the next video, we'll be going into a little more advanced uses of these tools and another tool that you will be using. So that's all for this one. If you have any doubts, feel free to contact us. Thank you.